All right, so old style video, white t-shirt, shorter hair, but same format, free flow, no editing, back to just heart speak. And I think that's a more valuable thing than anything on the internet at this point. The doom scrolling, these perfectly edited videos that are designed to capture attention seem to be the ones that get the most influence and have the most impact on people, less so than quality of content. Not that my content is any more quality than others, because I actually have no predetermined script, no teleprompter. I have no desire of actually have no method of going about the topics that I want to talk about. And I don't even know exactly what I want to talk about. And that's the crazy part about this is just heart speak, right? It's just me and whoever's watching this video. So, you know, some of the things that have changed over the years is the recognition that how little I know. And, looking back, I hate watching my old videos. Uh, I focus on typology or these whole how to have goals and stay motivated. And this is what I thought people wanted, right? And I was guilty of what people are doing today, which is trying to inspire to sell products on YouTube because YouTube's changed its algorithm where you don't get paid as much on views and impressions, but you have to start selling ancillary products. They created this whole shop thing, and to get more information, to get the best, you need to buy X, Y, and Z product. And either I'm stupid, or I'm right, and or I'm just delusional. But I carry this philosophy that value comes first, and you give the value. And if you help enough people kind of find what they're looking for, you ultimately get what you're looking for. And, so I'll continue with that philosophy. I do have products to sell because my time is worth something. But as far as what I know and the knowledge that I've accrued over the years, I don't want to sell information. I think information is really valuable. Uh, and it's something we need more of. Independent thinking and critical thinking and reasoning. Information these all fall in the domain of information, but less information and more reasoning is far more valuable. I think it's important to learn how to reason. And I think the best approach is critical thinking in the sense of putting pieces together and building a model that makes sense for you. And that model can be how you approach the world. It can be, whatever you observe, you start diving in. Let me digress for a second. One of my core values is truth. Deriving at a sense of a universal principle or series of principles or rules that apply in every circumstance. And they apply across the board. And empirically, that doesn't make much sense because, you can say things are dynamic and they change and whatever else. But there are things that I think are universal constants. Math, for example, doesn't change much, but maybe they do. I mean, beyond my level of mathematics, I don't think so. I think arithmetic stays the same. As far as I know, 2 plus 2 has always been 4. And they point to things that are consistent. And I think it's important that we carry a set of rules and principles on the way that we approach the world that can be applied in any circumstance. And I think that most dumbasses out here are forming pretty strong political opinions on things they don't understand. I had a very unique experience, and I'll say, talking to a very smart individual. And this particular individual, far more intelligent than I am, he was saying he's got some really good ideas, and I might have mentioned this in my other video, but I do want to emphasize this further. He was saying, and it really kind of opened my eyes, right? It's like I've always had this disruptive tendency. I've always wanted to shake up the system and create something that has a lasting impact and kind of put people in collective groups that are moving toward a cause that I think has a positive impact on society. And he is far more inventive than I am. He had some pretty good solutions to some of these problems, but he didn't move forward with them. And he said he's been holding back, and he feels this feeling like it's an issue, and the impacts are far beyond what anybody knows. And so maybe the structures that are in place are there for a reason and to contain us from self-destruction. And my counter question was, what is, you were given this God-given gift to be disruptive, and ultimately these entities that kept humans in check didn't exist until someone had these ideas. What is in your brain to differentiate between what you were called to do and what you currently do, and versus what well, let me put it this way, what you were called to do versus this instinct to not do it at all. I still have an optimistic side that most people have some type of knowledge or experience that is worthy of sharing, and I have an intellectual curiosity to learn this. Yet, I do think that we're getting dumber. With as much information that's out there, now we chat GPT everything, and our reasoning is disappearing. And we need to work further on making sure things make logical sense instead of just operating on a field of this is how I feel about something. And or making it more about the personal identity instead of the collective identity. I feel this way, therefore things should change. Well, sure. You feel a certain way, and you're entitled and allowed to feel a certain way. That's one of the freedoms that you have as a human being, is you can feel any way you want. But the important thing is what is the impact of that feeling if you were to codify it? If you were to take that feeling and put it into some series of rules to apply across multiple circumstances, would it hold up? And this is why people think I'm argumentative quite a bit, which I tend to think I challenge things, and I provide different examples in saying, and this is my standard method of argumentation. Well, okay, say that you make a claim. Does that apply in X circumstance? And I do it in a very exaggerated fashion just to illustrate the point, right? And my friends remind me of this, is that they're like, why do you have to use such an extreme example? And it's because you have to make sense to convince me of something. And you have to, it has to line up. It's this drive for truth and this fire in my belly that doesn't die. And, I think we all have some type of impact. And I am extremely disappointed in the whole Charlie Kirk situation, which I'm not going to talk about, because there was just people celebrating the death of an individual who shared his opinions. And whether his opinions are wrong or right, I have yet to see a single argument that is logical against his character. And yeah, he might make you feel a certain way. He might say something, I don't know, like about trans people, gay people, that could offend people, and that's fine. Again, you have the right to feel offended. But he carried a series of principles that I think were offensive to people, and ultimately he was killed for it, at least on the surface. Could there be some deeper political conspiracy shit behind it? Sure. I don't know. I don't care. I think it's just symbolic of where we're at as a culture right now. And there are so many things that could be solved with just some basic freaking reasoning. Ask more questions. It's all these YouTubers have shit to say, and they don't have anything to ask. That's why I particularly like podcasters, because the host is asking a series of questions, trying to make sense of things, and I really appreciate that. Whereas most of these influencers cut, edit, and present their most polished appearance, and then you meet them in real life and they're not anything like they've appeared on the internet. It feels almost like, whoa, what's the difference? And what you're getting with me here is me. I'm not going to edit this shit. You can watch me fail. You can watch me stumble on some words. You can watch me use filler words. Whatever, it's shocking that it takes this perfect editing and this perfect video quality to actually have any credibility. I don't think that shit matters. I think your reasoning matters. Stop using AI to think for you. You know, sometimes challenge yourself instead of using a calculator. You know, like, I've gotten dumber because I've fallen guilty to this, but read a book. Don't always listen to audiobooks. Actually look at the letters. You know, I still get complimented on how fast I read. It's because I've read a lot of books, but I stop reading books and I'll start slowing down. My comprehension decreases. If you truly don't use it, you lose it. You know, so every day's a discipline to do shit that you don't want to do, and you do it anyway. It's not about motivation. And I'm used to make all these stupid fucking motivation videos, and it's just how little I knew back then and how little I know now. And it's not about motivation, it's about discipline. If I want to be a better father, I want to be a better partner, I gotta show up every day. Some days I feel like shit, and I do it anyway, and do the best I can. And some days that best doesn't look as good, but one thing I can always do is try to dig out what the most viable reasoning I can come up with is, and piece it together so that I can come up with a model that makes the most sense. And maybe I'm a bit old school, but you know, I really value a lot of the collective shame cultures versus the guilt culture. And I think it's important that other people hold you accountable for even your reasoning. And I've been that guy. You don't make any sense, I'm gonna ask. And I'm gonna, you know, even my closest friends don't get a lot of my opinions anymore. I'm the person that just challenges. And people make such an effort to convince me. Not that I'm hard to convince. If you make sense, it's pretty easy. I feel like, you know, in fact, I'm too influential. Rather, I'm too easily influenced, too easily sold, because I'm willing to question my own reasoning so much. And, you know, like, but at the same time, I'm very challenging, and that's, I encourage everyone to get to that point, right? To be more challenging, to think, use your brain, because my biggest fear is AI wipes us out as a species. We stop thinking. We stop pursuing the arts. We stop expressing ourselves. We start dating machines because they validate and please us, because we're all dumbasses. And it's becoming harder and harder to have friendships. Not that there's not smart people out there, but it's just harder. A hell of a lot harder. Especially if you're in the position I'm in, which is, you know, you work from home. People don't want to talk to you in public anymore. You say good morning, and they're just like, I walked by 7 or 8 people in the mall, said hello, and I got, or like good morning or whatever, and I got the weird looks. I got whatever, and I'll compliment somebody, hey, nice shoes, and you'll hear them out, thanks, man. You know, and it's crazy that everybody's got somewhere to be, somewhere to go. And I think about, you know, when I was young, we'd all be sitting in a medical office, and there was no phones, and you'd have to strike up a conversation, and now it's not the same anymore at all. So anyway, I don't know where the hell I'm going with this video. Hopefully it helps in any capacity, but maybe not. Who gives a shit? You know, but this is the direction of my channel. It's going to be more thoughts and journaling than any, at least for now. Maybe I'll come up with something more ingenious later, but this isn't a money maker for me. It's just a desire to get my thoughts out and hopefully find like-minded people. I got a lot of shit to do. I got a lot of businesses to run. I got a lot of money to make. I got to, you know, provide for my family. So it's not as easy to just get out and hang out working 14, 15-hour days at times. So, yeah, hopefully I can connect. Hopefully we'll be able to meet in person and share ideas and create something great. Anyway, be great. Take care.